Hello everybody, Gareth here in London, and today I want to talk a little bit about what we can learn from children when it comes to language learning. Now, I'm sure you have heard it said or even thought yourself, children learn languages more easily than adults. They soak them up like a sponge. It's easy for them. There's some truth in this, but actually the advantages that children have in terms of their cognitive abilities, what's going on in their brains just in terms of the wiring, I think are exaggerated. There's a big debate among linguists about the extent to which children have a sensitive period. And it may be the case in some things that they have advantages over adults. Accent is the one that's usually mentioned, of course, and I certainly can remember when I was at school we had a little girl, we were about 5, she was called Pilar from Spain. She came into our class. I'm sure it was a monolingual English class otherwise. It was in a small town, not a particularly diverse place. And in came Pilar. She was speaking no English at the beginning, but very, very quickly, within a few weeks, it seemed that she was speaking English and playing with the rest of us in the playground. Now, what's actually going on there? Yes, she may have been bringing some instinctive childish abilities into play, but I think that mainly the advantage children have is that they are forced to use the language because she was in a situation where the teachers couldn't speak Spanish, so they were addressing her. If she wanted her needs satisfied, she had to speak in English, just as kids, when they're learning their first language, have a massive incentive to be able to say, I'm thirsty, no, or to call out for daddy to come, or whatever. So the children have got a big social advantage there, and of course what they're trying to say is often pretty simple because their worlds are also very limited. When you're starting to learn a language as an adult, you're thinking, you want to use your language in complicated social situations to discuss serious topics. In a way nobody under the age of, early teens would do anyway when they're already 12, 13 years into using the language. So it's sort of social pressure that really makes children make sure that they have motivation with the language rather than some cognitive advantage. Another thing is, kids are not afraid to make mistakes. They're making mistakes all the time. They're less self-conscious perhaps. There's less ego in play. Again, they're just getting on with it. And if you've had a small child, been around small children with first language, you'll know that, they do make a lot of mistakes in the first language as they start to work it out. And they just keep going, they fall down and they get up again. I think as adults we can maybe try and get back that attitude of not being afraid about making mistakes. And the best adult language learners I know are people who will have a go. They can laugh at their mistakes and they focus on the positives in the process. Another thing is that kids have a more fluid identity. So I think often our identities are very bound up with our nationality, our language and culture. Again, it feeds into our self-consciousness. Kids, like Pilar in the playground, they just get on with it. They are really quite flexible. How can we apply that then? Well, I think we can, take on a persona in our language. We can maybe imagine ourselves as somebody similar to us but of the nationality of our target language, and then we can sort of slide into that persona somehow, and that can help us. It doesn't mean negating our backgrounds or who we are, but adding another dimension to it, if you like. A lot of the research does show, just as I said, from our own observational experiences, that kids actually often stumble. They find language learning quite difficult, and actually, it takes them many years to do it, and that's another big advantage that kids have. They've just got tons and tons of time. So don't be discouraged. As an adult, you're not too old to learn a language. You haven't missed the boat by not having got the language when you were a child. And just remember that the kids have that advantage of social pressure. They really need the language. Try and simulate that if you can. Put yourself in situations where you're forced out of your comfort zone a bit. They are not afraid to make mistakes. Don't you be either. The more you make, the more you'll get used to it, I think. And their identity is more fluid, so develop for yourself an identity as a learner and then as a member of your new language community. And then you'll find you'll be able to bring to bear all the advantages that adults have over children, and we'll come to those in another video to help get you on the way to fluency in your language. Have you got any direct experience of this? Maybe as a parent, somebody who's been around children who are learning languages. Have you found them doing better than you picking up a language when you've moved to another country, for example? Why do you think that is? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done already. If you'd like to get my free 5-part video course called Discover How to Get Fluent, all about how to learn a language efficiently and effectively, you can follow the link to that too as well underneath this video. See you soon. Da bochi tara.